How you doing, everybody? Welcome to my channel. This is You Too Can Be Great. Okay, no sex box, I'm busy because my dog's over here trying to come over here and sit up here. Girl, I said I was sit. Good. Now, this is the review for Growing Up Hip Hop Atlanta Season 4, Episode 1. Make Atlanta Great Again, child. Now, I will say that I think that Growing Up Hip Hop Atlanta is going to be a hell of a lot better than the other, I would say, the Atlanta episode that we're watching right now, because I thought it was entertaining. I prefer to watch Growing Up Hip Hop than watch this nonsense that Atlanta has been giving us. Now, it did start off with discussing the COVID-19 pandemic because clearly it's affecting every damn body, right? And the Black Lives Matter protests. Now, as I'm watching, Brat explains to us, but she ain't trying to play with COVID. She's out there, she's wearing hazmat suit, face masks. She's putting herself in boxes, making sure that those boxes are sealed. Hell, she's even going around, walking around with holy water, throwing it on people and herself to make sure she's safe. I wouldn't surprise you walk around with a cross, or if she walks around with Harry Potter's wand to make sure that she is not infected. When I was sitting there watching Brat tell us what she's doing to protect herself from COVID, I love Brat. She's entertaining and she's funny as hell. And I don't blame her because COVID has been doing a lot of funky shit right now. And we just found out that a new strain is out here trying to terrorize our life. As far as I'm concerned, it will not touch me, okay? I'm all about Brat's little emotion right here. I'm doing everything and anything to make sure I'm straight. So I'm cool on Brat trying to protect herself. Now, as far as the protest goes, Brat made it very clear, and I'm just gonna say one thing. We care because we are black, bitch. And that's why we're sitting here pissed off at all this nonsense that's happening. That's all she said, and that's all she wrote, and that's all I'm gonna say on that matter. Now, next, we talk about Bow Wow and his Fast and Furious 9. He said he was in Fast and Furious 9, the new movie that was supposed to come out before this COVID thing, pandemic hit. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is Bow Wow going to do on this thing? He doesn't drive fast. We already have Tyrese and Ludacris. What purpose is Bow Wow going to serve? He can't take the place of the other dude that was there. I think, what was his name? I keep blanking right now. The guy who died, y'all tell me his name below. Bow Wow can't play his role. So I'm confused as to what role Bow Wow was going to do for Fast and Furious. But he said he was out there in London filming it. So I can't wait to see what the hell he was doing. I know he's acted in multiple movies like Mike. You understand what I'm saying? Then we have him and his people deciding to go to Miami because they wanted to get away from this whole COVID quarantine jail that we're basically experiencing right now. So they decided to go to Miami, and while they're there, they decided to go out smoking and drinking and basically wasting money and taking a jet out there. Bow Wow is using, I almost feel bad for him because I think that the way that Bow Wow has moved in all 4 seasons, Bow Wow is used to throwing money at things and at people, and he likes the attention that he gets from the ladies, from the men. Girl, sit down straight, stop. From the men and what they're doing, not from for the women, and the excitement that he gets when he's around them because he thinks he's Bow Wow. You know, he's getting older and he's feeling himself. Who the hell goes out there and spends $21,000 in a jet during a fucking pandemic? Explain that to me. Make it make sense. People out there losing their jobs. We don't know if we're going to have money today, tomorrow. We don't know if we're going to have money in the next 9 months. Hell, this government only gave us a total of what? $1,600, $1,800 to survive for 9 months. Your ass is out there spending $21K. Be quiet, girl. Sit still. Sassy. What's wrong with you? Sorry, my female dog's acting crazy. Now, what was I? Right. We're over here not worried about how we're going to feed our families and pay our bills. And this fool's out here spending $21,000 in a damn jet to go out into a state that don't wear any masks and out here spreading COVID like super spreaders. I don't understand that concept. And he's telling us that this dude, his friend, cost him $1,000 in smoking bill. You better go outside there and do some Uber. Go out there and hold some signs. I'll be damned. No matter how much money I make, if you are not supposed to be smoking in the hotel room and you choose to smoke in the hotel room anyway to where I get a bill for $1,000, you will be out there selling your ass if you have to give me that money. I ain't paying for it. Now, we got Ayana calling them while they're in Miami, and she said that she herself went to Miami trying to go to a party that her friend threw for her birthday or something like that. And she said that while she was there for 3 days. Now, y'all know that Florida is a Republican state. A lot of Republican states like Texas and Florida aren't necessarily, and Iowa, according to my uncle, are not necessarily following strict rules when it comes to COVID-19 because either they're minimizing it or they don't think it's that serious enough to where they can handle it. The way I see it is if they would have taken care of this in the beginning and quarantined their ass for the first 3 weeks and obeyed it and not spread all these conspiracy ass theories, we would be in a better place than we are now because other countries seem to be figuring that shit out, only us. Now, She went and she came back. Her being asthmatic thought it was wise for her to go to COVID-infested Miami and go out here and come back and catch it and go home and try to almost give it to her damn girlfriend. Do I feel sorry for people like, girl, stop, that's gross. Do I feel sorry for people who are out there going into deliberately and willingly going into a situation that they know they could get sick because they want to minimize it? I love me, Ayana. I think she has a great personality. I've always loved her on the show, but I'm finding it very hard to empathize with her plight because the way I see it is, if you were a child and didn't know what's going on and you happen to catch COVID, it's not your fault. You don't know what you're doing, but you are a grown-ass woman. You know better. You chose not to do better. Now you're on TV complaining because now you got the results of the consequences of your action. Every action has a reaction. And this COVID is the reaction to the actions you chose to do when you were out there. And I find it very hard to empathize with her. I don't want her to get hurt. I don't want her to die. I don't want anything bad to happen to her. But am I going to sit here and now I just don't feel the sorry or the empathy that I think that I would be given to somebody that maybe has cancer because they didn't ask for it, they can't control it, things like that. Now, we got Florida had a population. What I wanted to say is that Florida has a population of 29 million. Since this pandemic, they've had over 27,000 deaths because of how they've handled themselves. Now, California has a population of 39.5 million, and they've had barely over 24,000 deaths. Do the math. You got one population at 29 mil, got 27,000 deaths. You got another at 39.5, got 24,000 deaths, but they have more people in the state. So the way I see it is, masks may not protect every damn body, but it protects somebody. So for what I'm thinking is your ass shouldn't even been in Miami in the first place. Now we got Brat coming out of the closet with her new beautiful boo, Jessica. We all knew Brat was gay this whole time. I don't know who the hell can look at Brat and think she is not gay. I peeped that she was gay from the moment I saw her on TV. She was gay as hell. She just didn't want to come out and talk about her private life. Now that she has, we get to meet her beautiful boo, Jessica. They seem like a very compatible couple. They seem like they understand each other. They seem like the way that Brat had this, she has this hard edge, and it seems like around Jessica, she turns into mush. So it seems like they work together, and I'm happy for them. Brat, this is why I like her. She wants her a real woman, because Jessica, when I look at her and her New Orleans behavior and how she acts, the woman has a lot of sass and a whole lot of ass. And I know that Brat's out there loving that heifer. I love everything about them, and we've since seen how they acted with each other when it was like, I think a birthday or something like that, or some Valentine's or whatever. They had done something romantic with one another, and I think Brat had put some roses or something. She did something cute, and that it was recorded and put on live, and we got to see it. So I was very happy that this is how her life is. I finally want to see her happy instead of fighting with Deb. Then they are currently living together, and then she says that Deb invited her to now go and live and go to a party, a COVID gathering outside in her house. And I'm sitting there thinking, as cautious as Brat has been trying to be this whole time, she ain't gonna go to that damn party. And she said that she ain't going to that damn party. Next, we got Deb, Waka Flocka going over to Deb's house for them to, I guess, catch up since COVID and them being quarantined, right? Deb has a whole zoo in her house. She has everything but the actual gates and walls that covers the gate. She got, I think it was an iguana. She has a dog. She has a bird. She probably has a fish somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised if she has a snake somewhere, but she takes naps with these creatures. And you see the dog looking at this damn iguana on the floor. I'm like, what is this? I don't know whether, maybe it's because the Nigerian in me, there is no way in hell I will have an iguana. That is a glorified lizard in my house as a damn pet. For what? They belong in the forest. I don't need to have this creature. Don't need me to take care of them. I have my own people, my own children to take care of. Why the hell would I have all these creatures in my damn house, my home, indoors, like they're in prison? I don't get it. I just think that she's going through a midlife crisis. She might be bored since we're all inside on COVID jail. So she just needs something to, to keep her company. But you can't really have a conversation with a damn iguana. You're just talking to your damn self. She says she got them because she gets unconditional love from them. So I'm just thinking maybe she might need a man, because I'm sitting here listening to her, and she lets us know that she is a pro-Trump supporter. Now, I've met several pro-Trump supporters, and I know that everybody has their own opinion, and we are entitled to have our own political values and own political views. The problem is with me, I'm speaking just me. I can't speak for everybody else. Y'all can speak for yourself. Y'all can feel the way that you want to feel. The thing that I've always met with a lot of pro-Trump supporters is that they see things that are wrong. I mean, like blatantly wrong. And they choose to make excuses for the bad behavior because they are Retrumplicans. I don't even want to call them Republicans. They're Retrumplicans. They have their own damn party. They're not even in the sector of the parties. They're just in their own like in their own bubble as far as I'm seeing it, because of what the nonsense we had to deal with yesterday. And Deb is sitting here saying that the reason why she's a pro-Trump supporter is because what she sees is what she gets. The thing is, I'm seeing what we getting, and I'm just not for it. Not necessarily because because presidents always do perfect. I didn't like everything Obama did. I didn't like everything, George Bush did. And I'm sure I'm not gonna like everything that Biden does. That's just a fact. There's no way in hell there's ever been any person in politics that's gonna do everything that you want them to do. That's just insane if that's what you think that's gonna happen. What I don't appreciate is the president who's putting all these trigger words out there that's causing us to behave in the manner that we have behaved since the 1800s, the 1600s, when slavery was still in full effect, more so than it is now. Now it's just hidden effect, right? Because what happened yesterday at the Capitol building, people were not there protesting because they're pissed off that their own party candidate didn't win. They were storming buildings, and a building that's a government building, and they were putting up things like nooses and walking around with Confederate flags and attacking the same blue lives that they said mattered. Okay, they actually killed one of them. They just took the first one off of life support. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, well, which is it? Your ass is supposed to be conservative and love Jesus. Is Jesus want this? Because your ass was just paying for angels for Africa to come and save your ass. The angels ain't coming. They didn't come fast enough for you. Because to me, this is not a display of, I don't like the fact that the election didn't go my way, or I think that there's fraud. It's more so, this is people believing in their entire spirit that Trump gives them a right to be racially superior, to where they can go and put things up like nooses. There is a monument in some southern states that have over 4,400 people dead from being lynched. Some of those people who's walking around with even Confederate flags, half of them don't even know what it stands for. They're just saying it's part of our history. They don't even know that the history you're glorifying has a horrible connotation, not just connotation, but an image, expresses your ancestors like wicked spirited individual. And you're out here blasting that on a government building for the entire world to see as if it's something to be proud of. The next thing you go see is, we don't see statues in Germany of Hitler and the Nazi Germany. We don't do that. We don't see, where they do that at? We don't put statues of people who are known to be mass murderers, because the statues are supposed to commemorate all the hard work and all the good things that they did. You're out there running around with Confederate flag thinking that you're doing some shit, but you look dumb as hell. Stupid. So for me, when I see Deb say things like, oh, I'm a Trump supporter because what you see what you get, and that's just me. I never thought Deb was like a huge intellectual person. I saw Deb as a manager for artists, but I didn't peg her to be somebody who has who's extremely intelligent. I don't see her and the way that she's behaved as somebody who's intelligent. I see her as somebody who's a mother, and somebody who cares for her family, and somebody who knows the music industry better because that's where she's experienced in. But when it comes to common sense, Deb, you are black, lady, and you see some of the shit that's going on. For you to have this opinion, okay? It's not necessarily because he's Republican, because there's been Republican presidents that I would have I could go with. I like John McCain when he was running, and he was running against Obama. That's not something I feel is an issue. It's just in the fact that Trump's character and what he has done, and the type of okay he's giving some of these people who are wicked to their core, to think that they have this much privilege, they can walk into a government building and do what they did, and not one shot was fired when our asses would get gassed. They were arresting over thousands of us. Hell, they had the National Guard posted, literally like straight up gangsters just sitting up there with their arms crossed talking about, I dare you to come over here so I can just pull this trigger one more time. There was an old man they pushed so far on the ground that he had blood coming out the back of his head. We had that going on when people were protesting wrongful deaths of people that were just supposed to be arrested and booked. And that was the reason why people were out there. Yes, there were rioters doing stupid things, people that were stealing when they weren't supposed to be stealing. There were people who did something wrong. But what we saw yesterday was a whole hot mess, okay? And can't nobody sit up here and tell me nothing different. I saw it, I watched it, I synced it, and I'm waiting for my kids to grow up and go to school so I can make sure that teacher teaches the right history, tell them the truth. Now, I went online after what Deb said, and I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and see why I'm so angry, and why in my spirit I'm so I'm just so disturbed by what she said. So I said, you know what? What was Trump's experiences when he was a kid? Like, what did he see that maybe have molded his mind to the way that he is today? Because he may have had a different hard childhood. Maybe he had strict parents. But I said, you know what? He was born June 1946, right? So I said, well, what happened? He's 74 years old right now, right? I said, so what happened during his timeline up to 74 years old? So I said, okay. So in 1947, we had Jackie Robinson dealing with racism and trying to play baseball as a professional in an all-white baseball team and having to face racism and segregation and people mistreating him even from his own team because they were either jealous of his skills or they just didn't like the fact that his skin is just beautifully melanated. That was in 1947. Trump was 1 year old, okay? Now, we had the Brown versus Board of Education in 1994, where we had a Supreme Court case where they were challenging American public schools' choice to segregate the students, where they had white people going into this school and black people. It just wasn't right. So they were arguing against it. That was in 1954. Trump was 8 years old. At this point, he's not able to know everything, but he's able to at least grasp some of the things that's going on in this time. Clearly, there's racism and he sees it. Then we had in 1955, we had 14-year-old Emmett Till being murdered while he was visiting his relatives in Chicago because he supposedly whistled at a white woman. The same white woman who's still out of prison, who has now admitted that she lied all those years for that little poor 14-year-old boy to be tortured and killed and left and his body found 3 days later. And her, Bill Cosby's still behind bars, but her ass apparently is too old to be prosecuted. The privilege. Now, at this time, Trump was 9 years old. Now, we had the Rosa Parks and the Montgomery bus boycott situation that happened December 1955. Rosa Parks said, hell not, and had enough. I am not giving up my seat for a white man. I came on this bus earlier before him. I'm a lady. If he is a respectable man, his ass should be the one standing, not asking me to give up my seat for him. He can stand his little white ass up. I'm not giving up this seat. He didn't earn this seat. This seat is mine. I'm paying just like you. Shut up. This was in 1955. Now, this was just 66 years ago. People are saying, oh my gosh, racism is over. Slavery is over. Segregation is over. All these black people need to stop whining. It's such a long time ago. Bitch, it was 66 years old. According to this age, your grandmama's still alive and she lived during that time. Now, we had in 1963, the Birmingham church bombing had happened. And at this time, Trump was 17 years old. And it was all over the news because they knew that he got, the church got bombed and there was a bunch of black folks in it. So who cared, right? He's 17 years old. And this was also the time that MLK was out now doing his I Have a Dream speech and getting people to understand that this is a problem, right? Then we had the Civil Rights Act in 1964. At this time, Trump was 18 years old when this act was supposed to give African Americans their right to vote, which is a right that was given to all citizens according to the 15th Amendment, but they still had to now do the Voter Right Act to, again, put something else on top of something that we're already supposed to have to make it clear to everybody else that we, with our beautiful skin color, can go ahead and vote despite your disagreements with it. If you don't like it, go to hell. But y'all know that there were some people who actually went to try to exercise their right to vote that were hunted down and killed for doing what the law said they were allowed to do, with the whole law and order thing, right? The law says they can go and vote. People were literally targeting those who actually were brave enough to go and vote and actually murdering them and dragging them from their home and killing them for exercising their right. Okay, at this age, Trump was 19 years old. This is the era where he grew up. This is what he saw. This is how he grew up seeing that these things were okay. This is what he is. And y'all saw his when he was first campaigning, he said in the good old days, police officers would drag you by the hair. And when he was saying that, it was akin to what he saw as a childhood, right? Then we had the Rodney King beating and the LA riots that happened in 1992. At this point, Trump is 46 years old, and that was just 29 years old. That was just 29 years ago, and he's 46 years old. If y'all don't know what the Rodney King riots was, let me tell y'all what it was. Rodney King was on probation for robbery. Okay, he was a criminal, but he was on probation. This time came out, he was on probation. He was driving drunk, and then the police were trying to stop him in LA. Of course, racial profiling him along with everything else that they were doing back then. They wanted to stop him because apparently he was speeding, but they didn't know he was drinking. So when they stopped him, put him over, he already had them do a little high-speed chase. They caught up to him, they pulled him over. He was drunk. A drunk mind doesn't act sensible. Now, there were already multiple, because y'all know when one black man is stopped, you got 5 police officers on top of him before he can even say hello. But they stopped him. They didn't just arrest him and take him to jail for speeding. They beat the hell out of this man. You would think they were beating the hell out of somebody that's not even human. They beat the hell out of him. Somebody caught it on camera and spread the story of what happened. Those law enforcement officers got a slap on the wrist like they've been getting with all these other murders that happened, had nothing done with them. As a result, when OJ's trial came up, OJ got set free in retaliation because they didn't do anything to people that, what happens to Rodney King. People use the excuse that, oh, he was resisting arrest. Resisting arrest does not equate to some of the things that has happened. You are supposed to book the person, put the charge on them, and allow the justice system, the judicial system, to do what it was designed to do. You, as a law enforcement officer, does not have a right to take the law into your own hands and decide who lives and who dies, who gets beaten and who doesn't. Because if y'all sitting up here talking about somebody who's going on a high-speed chase, need to be beat down, when y'all just had a whole mob of people storm a Capitol building, y'all didn't do shit. You opened the door, hell, you held their hands, taking selfies, walked them in, even took some photos with them, probably brought them some lunch afterwards. Okay? So you want to say, it's just, there's a huge blatant double standard that we see. And when this Rodney King situation happened, Trump was 46 years old. At this point, he was old enough to have picked up and learned a whole lot of racist behavior during his lifetime. At 70-something years old, he is not going to change. Now, he may not mean to be the way that he is, and he may not think that he's racist himself, but the things that he has said, the things that he thinks are funny, the things that he thinks are a joke. Oh, go back to your country. We're going to, build the wall. We're, Muslims are this and this and that. I think to him, he thinks it's funny, ha, ha, ha. But there are some people who are so uneducated that they're going to take what you say seriously and overdo things because they feel like you're giving them the okay to be stupid. What we saw yesterday was a hot mess. I said, this is the ghettoest election I've ever seen. I didn't think this would ever happen in my lifetime. I didn't know if it should laugh or cry or pray or just start repenting, because I thought that it was going to be that Jesus was going to come down from heaven or something, or somebody was going to come down and it was going to be the rapture and the world is ending. It's insane. I never in my life thought that I would see something like that. And if I did see something like that, I didn't know that it would be handled as horribly and as deliberately negligent as it was handled. And for me, I am not okay. And everybody who sits up there and makes excuse for me, tell me, it's because this happened, or I don't want to hear it. I don't, because I think it's unfair. It's not right. You don't allow something like that. You don't. Now, we get to the end of the stuff, and we get to the end of the show, and we got Bow Wow meeting up with somebody. I don't know if they said his name was Eddie or Andy, but he seemed like he was his manager or something. And Bow Wow, being full of himself, feels like he has spent so much time on this album. He's told his love story, only the specific love stories he thought were important to mention. There were some he didn't feel like he wanted to talk about. Maybe the one with Sierra, because he's the one who cheated, and Sierra has since moved on with her life, as beautiful as she is. But he wanted to talk about some of his relationships, the ones that he felt were necessary, except the guy told him, I listened to this. It was all over the place. And Bow Wow decided to throw a fit. He said, when I'm doing my music, I'm in the zone. I feel it in my spirit. I'm doing it and I'm curing myself. I think it sounds great. But now he can't take constructive criticism. Now, I would have said what some people say. The manager's just hating on him. He's just jealous of Bow Wow. He's just this. He's not right. He's lying. Bow Wow is a talented artist. He's gone this far in life. But he hasn't put out an album for 10 years. And the guy was right. And another thing I noticed is he said, why don't you have JD listen to it if you think it's so great? And Bow Wow instinctively said no. Gave us the excuse that, he didn't, it didn't have nothing to do with him. I wanted to do it by myself. I felt like he said that because he was afraid that it might come back with more negative criticism, and he didn't want to hear it, so he throws a fit. You have to be able to take constructive criticism in a healthy way. I didn't think that what the guy was saying to him was so horrible. He wasn't cussing him out. He wasn't saying it was garbage. He just said, we can go back and you can fix it. Okay? Because he said, this is an album. The guy was like, this ain't no damn album. Seriously, don't even play with me like that. This is not an album. And he went on to tell him that I'm letting you know this because you need to fix it. In addition to that, he felt like it was like he was scolding Bow Wow also for spending, $100K in a month? Bow Wow's excuse is like a child. Well, I spent that much money because I know I'm going to go and make it back. That is the stupidest shit I've ever heard. That is not why you spent the money. You were bored and you wanted people to come over there and show you how much they love you. People are always going to crowd around somebody who buys all the drinks, pays all the bills, plays all the parties. They're going to love you till that money runs out. And the guy looked at him, and Bow Wow was saying, I've played this record for some people, and these ladies said that they could have sex, into that song. They can make a baby to that song. They want to make a baby with me to that song. And the guy's like, they want to make a baby with you because you're paying for it. He's like, what? He said, you're paying for the yachts. You pay for the drinks. You pay for the party shit. While I'm drunk, I might want to make a baby with you too. And it's true. And he didn't like that. So he threw a fit and said, I don't want to do this no more. Like a tantrum. Boy, take your little grown-up ass into the studio and rectify this problem and call it a day. Put the album out so we can hear it. Shit, I want to hear it so I can make baby with my husband. Damn. Don't complain. Just go fix it. Anyway, that was the extent of this episode. I enjoyed it better than Atlanta. I think it's a better introduction to the season as opposed to what the hell we had to deal with Atlanta. I'm still trying to, episode 4, catch up. Catch up for real. Now, I'm also going to do the review for the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City because I thought that episode, I have a lot to say about Jen, Meredith, and Lisa's ass. So I'm going to do that review. But for now, like, subscribe, notification bell. Let me know what y'all think about this episode. It just did. It's the premiere. Let me know what you think about season 4. And if you think that we're out here making Atlanta great again with this show. Okay? Love you.